2-0. It's Germany's first ever away loss in a World Cup qualifier. It's not the best record so far for Julien Nagelsmann. They're in Group A as it stands right now. Far from ideal for them, given that there are 4 teams in this group. Julien Nagelsmann needs to find a solution, and he needs to do so quickly. Julien Laurent was watching this game for us as well. Jules, Nagelsmann needs to find some answers.
Yeah, things are pretty bad now. I mean, they started well and now 3 defeats in a row. I think for the first time in a very, very long time for Germany, if not ever. Even it's just, I mean, the first 2 in the Nations League, semi-final, and then for the 3rd place against Portugal and France. You could probably say, okay, they're big games. The one against France, they had plenty of chances, plenty of shots. It could have maybe gone their way in that one. I mean, tonight, I'm just not sure. If you look everywhere on the pitch, and you can just start tactically of his setup, what's the point of having Kimmich and Goretzka and Stiller in a team like this to play Wirtz on the left-hand side, certainly out of possession, Woltemade on his own up front? It's just, I don't think he worked at all, and he keeps tweaking his teams and changing. We've seen a back 3, we went back to a back 4. I mean, Rudiger, the boys mentioned it during the highlights, was all over the place today, and really the first goal is a disgrace defensively from the whole, especially from Rudiger, but the whole Germany team. The second one in transition is not much better, and yet towards the end they had a bit more chances because they put pressure and they pushed, and Slovakia just played deep to defend their lead, and even that was quite sterile from Germany even. So I'm not sure where you go from here, but it's a terrible start of the season.
You look at that German side right on paper and you just think absolutely bang average. I mean, you think about historically, and that's all we can do is sort of look back at some of the great German sides, and there have been. And you used to look at them and think they were big and strong and fast and played good football and had top quality players in every position. They don't. And so, yeah, I mean, the manager obviously has got a lot to answer for. His record is not great coming off the back of Hansi Flick. But unless there's a bunch of players he's not picking that are going to come in and be better than this, there's actually not a lot there if we're being honest about it.
I think I'm with Jules. How are you playing Goretzka through the middle, supposedly in an attacking position, when you've got Julian Wirtz in your team? Albeit a Julian Wirtz who hasn't started that well. Florian, I beg your pardon.
Well, Julian, he'd be a good player as well, wouldn't he?
Might be all right.
Julian hasn't started that well for Liverpool.
Who, Julian?
But why are you putting him out on the left? You had to have known coming into this game that you were going to have 70% of the ball. You had to know that. So why are you playing somebody like Goretzka as an attacking midfielder? It makes no sense at all. And other than the clip that we showed of Wirtz with that opportunity, with 70% of the ball, they had. It says they had 13 shots. I can't remember 13 shots. And if there was 13, I don't think the goalie had anything other to do than throw his hat on any of them. And actually, Slovakia had 2 great chances at 0-0. This could have been more, and maybe should have been more, regardless of how much of the ball Germany had. But they did absolutely nothing with it, and they got exactly what they deserved. Certainly Nagelsmann did, considering the supposed attacking lineup he put out.
Do you think Nagelsmann's another one of these coaches that tries to be too clever?
Looks that way.
Tries to overthink these. He came through with this great reputation. I think it was Hoffenheim initially. Then he went on to Bayern, obviously, and then to the German national team. And he's been talked up as this great innovator and all this sort of stuff we see in here, most of it nonsense. And it just seems to me that, when you look at other teams that have been successful recently, particularly Spain and France, and they have an identity about how it's not always perfect, but they have an identity about how they go about it. It just seems to me, watching Germany, that he's another one of these managers that I think tries to always outfox the opposition by doing something that is just different and doesn't actually suit the team, like the Goretzka scenario, like the Florian Wirtz scenario. And I think, looking at their squad of players, the German teams have always been about doing the basics really, really well and then going from there. He seems to be trying to go at it from the opposite direction. And, they'll probably qualify for the World Cup. Of course they will, barring a disaster. But looking at them in general over the piece, I don't really see them coming to North America and threatening, if I'm being honest. And that's really not where Germany want to be.
How concerning is it for Germany, Jules?
Yeah, I think it's quite concerning because again, you could look at the Nations League back in June and say, okay, Portugal, France, we're not going to repeat what we just said at the start of the show, but it can happen. But Slovakia, 52nd in the world. Yes, they had a good Euros and they should have knocked out England in the last 16. They didn't, but still, you know they have a bit of momentum, but they're still not a great team. You know, let's be honest here. They have decent players up front, solid defenders at the back. But nobody thought, okay, Germany are going to struggle that much away in Slovakia in September. And yet they did. And they did because once again, Nagelsmann could not find the solutions. I mean, he got it wrong from the beginning, we've said that. But even during the game, he waited an hour to replace one of those midfielders by an attacking player in Amiri, for example. Well, so you wait to be 2-0 down, where at half-time we could all see that thing that was just not working. The first half from Germany is a terrible half. The expected goal is 0.5. They don't control anything. They hardly be threatening. And yeah, you still wait another 15 minutes, and by then you're 2-0 down to start thinking, maybe I should have a bit more impetus going forward. Maybe I should replace one of those three quite defensive-minded midfielders, Ryan Stiller, Kimmich and Goretzka, by somebody a little bit more attacking. By then, it was just too late. Then Slovakia defended with 11 men behind the ball. They were even comfortable doing that because there was just no spark from Germany at all. So Nagelsmann, you can expect the media in Germany, the newspapers and all of that to be really, really offensive tomorrow against him. And rightly so. And again, we've seen it coming, even if before you could find excuses in a way because they lost against top countries. It's not the case tonight. It's an embarrassing defeat for Germany, really.
Yeah, no doubt more questions to be asked of Julien Nagelsmann, as Jules says, in the German media tomorrow. Make sure you are with us when Bundesliga returns to action. We'll have wraparound coverage to kick things back off as Leverkusen, with no Ten Hag now, take on Frankfurt, who are seemingly the team that will be challenging Bayern the most this season. This is what else will be happening across that weekend. All of the games available, as always, on ESPN+.